This week in Jamaica Now. Heartbreak in Qatar, Brazil eliminated, but Lionel Messi's Argentina remain on course for the global title. JLP and PNP square off in latest fight over use of states of emergency. INDECOM flags policemen involved in 20 killings in the last 10 years. And DJ Aidonia mourning the death of his 9-year-old son. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. We start at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Croatia and Argentina will meet in one of the semi-finals of the World Cup after a dramatic Friday of quarter-final action which included heartbreak for Brazilian fans. Brazil, the heavy favourites for their 6th world title, were beaten 4-2 in a penalty shootout as Croatia continued their march for a first title. Neymar scored late in the first half of extra time to give Brazil the lead, but Croatia equalised when Bruno Petkovic scored in the 117th minute. Neymar's goal moved him into a tie with Pelé as Brazil's all-time leading scorer with 77 goals. In the second match, Argentina had to go the long route to get by the Netherlands 4-3 on penalty. Argentina were cruising in additional time when in the dying moments the Netherlands made it 2-2 from a free kick to force the game into extra time. The teams could not be separated and the match went into penalties, with the Netherlands failing to recover from missing their first two. And here in Jamaica, many Brazilian fans who turned out to watch the match were left in shock with the result. Another round of political fight over states of emergency between the ruling Jamaica Labour Party and the opposition People's National Party is underway after Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced the reimposition of SOEs in 7 parishes this week. The SOEs are measures that suspend some constitutional rights while giving the security forces increased powers of search and arrest, including without warrants. Mr. Holness said the measures were re-established in Clarendon, St. Catherine, St. James, Westmoreland, Hanover and sections of Kingston and St. Andrew. The SOEs were imposed in those areas on November 15 and discontinued on November 29 after the government failed to get opposition support in the Senate to extend them. An 8th parish, St. Anne, has been included in the latest round. On Tuesday, the Prime Minister said he has a duty to protect Jamaicans and criticised the opposition PNP for arguing that the use of SOEs in crime fighting is unconstitutional.
My job is to ensure that my people are safe. And I will not stop until that is achieved. So will we need the SOEs? Yes, there will always be SOEs. Is it something that we want to do forever and ever and ever? Absolutely not. But I think in the modern world, our Constitution needs to be upgraded so that those powers can be easily and effectively used when the circumstances require them.
Now, the latest SOEs were announced on December 6 and will expire after 14 days if the government does not get support from at least one opposition senator for their extension. And the signs are not good, as Opposition Leader Mark Golding has again lambasted the government, describing its actions as akin to a fascist dictatorship.
This clearly shows once again that the government has no regard for the opposition. Mr. Holness prefers to be wrong and strong, pressing on with his SOE policy. His behavior indicates that he really does not want our support, no doubt believing that it is to his political advantage for the opposition and the government to be continuing at odds over this issue. We do not see the use of states of emergency as a policing tool as being a sustainable path forward for Jamaica. Putting the majority of Jamaicans at legal risk of being detained for extended periods by police or soldiers without charge is no way to address Jamaica's long-standing, challenging problem of criminal violence.
Meanwhile, within 2 hours on Tuesday, the government tabled and withdrew the emergency powers regulations in Parliament that are key to how the security forces operate under the states of emergency. Acting Prime Minister Dr. Horace Chang said the documents were pulled after the Printry sent copies directly to Parliament. He says the Attorney General, Dr. Derek McCoy, always wishes to review the regulations before they are tabled to ensure there are no errors. It's the second time in 6 months that the government has tabled and recalled SOE regulations. The regulations were eventually tabled in the Senate on Friday. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, says none of the 14 officers flagged in 112 fatal shootings between 2010 and June 2021 has faced prosecution. INDECOM's Assistant Commissioner Hamish Campbell said Thursday that while the agency identified the officers, the absence of supporting evidence prevented prosecutions. He said in some instances witnesses give accounts but not statements, or give statements but do not show up for court. An INDECOM report says the 14 policemen were under scrutiny for their involvement in 30 of 129 fatal shootings over the one-year period ending June 2021. One of the cops reportedly killed 20 persons in 11 years. The police have arrested a man who was allegedly caught on Hillcrest Avenue in St. Andrew stealing underground cables belonging to telecom's firm Flow. Head of the Matilda Corners Police in Ligonier, St. Andrew, Inspector Earl Grant, said a police team nabbed the man early Thursday morning after getting a report. The wires have an estimated value of $3 million.
On arrival of the police, a truck was seen, cable was seen lining the roadway about midway Hillcrest Avenue to the end towards Oakfield. Now, upon investigation, one man was seen beside the truck. He was accosted by the police, and the questions asked of him if he was an employee of Flow or Digicel. He denied working with any of the companies, and of such, he was taken into custody for further investigation.
Member of Parliament for Kingston Eastern and Port Royal, Philip Paulwell, has been fined $45,000 for the negligent loss of his licensed firearm. The representative from the opposition PNP will serve 3 months in prison if the fine is not paid. The sentence was handed down in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court after Mr. Paulwell pleaded guilty on Wednesday. Mr. Paulwell was charged after his licensed firearm was reportedly stolen in July in Hope Pasture, St. Andrew, after he made an emergency stop. 2 Sagicor Bank employees implicated in a now $65 million fraud at the Ligonier branch in St. Andrew got an extension of their bail until February 21 next year. 42-year-old personal banker Malika MacLeod and 40-year-old branch manager Tricia Moulton appeared before the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Friday. They were arrested and charged in October and are each on $1 million bail. It's alleged that between August and October this year, the women conspired and defrauded U.S. currency accounts belonging to several Sagicor Bank customers using fraudulent accounts they created. Entertainer Sheldon Aidonia Lawrence and his wife Kimberly have thanked fans for their sympathies following the death of their son Caliph Lawrence. The 9-year-old died in hospital on December 3 following a 3-year battle with cancer. According to a statement, the family is appreciative of the tributes but are asking for their privacy to be respected. Caliph, who was described as brave, had been diagnosed with cancer in August 2019. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on notification and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, let's get some more reactions from Jamaicans to the quarterfinal matches in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar on Friday.
Watch it, everybody quiet, watch it.
We're 104th minute. Well, I'm score still, I'm not worried. I'm not worried, I'm not score still. The side just need for they need for Musa.
Who quiet?
No, who quiet? You quiet.
Wait, hi Chanel, how you doing? Chanel, how you doing, Chanel? Hi Chanel. Get them! Remember how them deal you when you go to them against our Serbia or Switzerland? Remember how them say your goods now go work? Cause them go win, and all we have. You say it for true.
We have 10 persons live in the house, and I'm the only person that said Argentina. You believe that?
So how is that going to go when you go home today?
I don't know, I'm a doom when I go home, and I can't help it. Maybe I sleep out later still.
Blue?
always shine.